Good day everyone, I am your Ate Janet for today's video. So for today's video, I'm going to share my knowledge about our preliminary topics. So let's start to the sources and discourses. So let's start the topic 1, which is sources and discourses. An introduction to Philippine historiography is the kind of subject where you can make a lot of progress. History gives us a unique perspective on the problems that our current civilization is facing. I identify notable Filipinos historians who have made significant contributions to our country. History is a collection of the details from those sources of authentic materials. This can assist us understand the history of the Philippines from the past that are relevant today. Studying the past allows us to gain valuable perspective on the problem of our modern country. As I continue reading this lesson, I figure out those notable Filipino historians that has a big contribution to our country. Let's proceed to the reflection 2. My reflection 2 about the history of the Philippine island and excerpt from the original work of Antonio de Morga. The history of the Philippine island is a field of study that describes how the Spanish colonizations of the Philippines treated the native Filipinos in the past. Slaves are generated from the island natives, and there are several varieties of slaves. Even if they are simple residents of that island, they should not be treated in this manner. So let's proceed to topic 3, a reflection about the Manunggul jar. The Manunggul jar exemplifies the Filipinos' nautical culture by reflecting their ancestors' beliefs. In the Philippines, several epics describe how souls migrate to the next aboard boats. This belief is related to the Anetus Astroniensis belief. So now let's proceed to topic 4, the Laguna Copper Plate. Copper plate was discovered in 1987 as a little piece of a copper chip. This relic was discovered during dead digging utilizing a mechanical conveyor. It was offered for the sale to the National Museum in Manila. As well as the antique market, the National Historic Commission continues to disseminate fresh information about our country history. So, let's proceed to topic 5. Duties of the Katipunan of the Sons of the People, or let's talk about KKK. Andres Bonifacio was a founding member and leader of the Kataas-Taasang Kagalang-Galangang Katipunan, or KKK, a secret group. The Decalogue is a list of duties and responsibilities that all members of the organization must adhere to. Learning how to write a Decalogue is a great place to start because I know how Andres Bonifacio knew that in order for Katipunan to develop, each member needed to be disciplined and indoctrinated with revolutionary principles. Making my own Decalogue, which is dedicated to our fellow frontliners who serve as teachers, is a great place to start because I know how Andres Bonifacio knew that in order to develop Kati. So now let's proceed to topic 6. Topic 6 is a pre-16th century Philippines reading materials. Filipinos once had a complex civilization, but colonization has changed our image of them. Every Filipino, in my opinion, has a distinct personality trait, which is why our culture and ways of life are always changing. Filipinos are bold, strong, and powerful people who are also polite, kind, and happy. Early Filipino qualities, habits, traditions, and ways of life simply serve to highlight how rich and simple the original Filipino culture is. They aid in the discovery of Filipinos' actual nature. They give up everything to avoid the battle, but they needed sustenance after they arrived on a strange island. They used the term discarte to describe what they needed to consume. I also discovered why so many people own so many properties or lands as a result of this issue. The people before, they said, kung ano ang lupang nasa harapan at kinatatayuan nila ay naaayon na sa kanila. So, topic 7. Topic 7 is talking about 16th to 18th century Philippines. The Philippines demonstrated how literature flourished in the 16th and 18th centuries. Folk stories, antique plays, and short novels in our actions, literatures depict our daily routines and traditions. We established that we had a rich and beautiful literature even before the Spaniards arrived. Their way of life also reflects the reality that we all want to be known as authentic Filipinos, separate from other ethnicities. As previously said, they were incredibly clever and innovative, producing incredible and amazing creation that future generations will remember. As a Filipinos, we have a responsibility to carry on the work of our forefathers. By acting as a catalyst, we can ensure that future generations respect and enjoy our literature. Oral Philippines literature of the time demonstrated a level of intelligence far beyond that of people barbarian civilizations, and it can be traced back to a long-standing oral tradition in the Philippines that still exists today. Today's relics. So, the eighth topic is 19th century Philippines. Filipinos, especially those at the bottom of the so-called social ladder, are regarded as slaves and fools who have no right to own land, speak freely, or acquire an education, despite the fact that large quantities of money and taxes have been collected. The Filipinos people have yet to see the promised reforms. Friars are vicious and greedy people who claim to be helping to those who believe in God and their religion. Officials in charge of preserving law and order abuse their power to inflict violence on the general populace. Everyone should have access to justice, yet they do not. The Spanish authorities were cruel when the Filipinos were slaves in the 19th century because recalling the past is taught we should not bury or ignore it. Injustice, racial and social prejudice, a predatory economic system, and heinous church and government corruption are all too common. We can fight. We can fight for our rights in court because there is not enough room and we can't even express ourselves. So, the ninth topic is Revolution of the Philippines. The Philippines Revolution began in 1896 as a military conflict between Filipinos against the Spanish colonial authorities. The Filipinos had enough of the Spaniards' dominance over them. The Katipunan was founded to struggle for independence from the Spaniards. The Katipunan leaders, like everyone else involved in the revolution, were well aware of the dangers of being apprehended, which is included death and loss of a chance and independence. Independence from Spain was crucial. The only way to gain freedom was via violence and bloodshed. Filipinos joined forces to depose their Spanish rulers. Now, this is the last topic of our preliminary topic. The 10th topic is post-truth cancel culture and history. In this topic, post-truth politics, also known as a post-factual politics, is a political culture in which debate is characterized mostly by emotional appeals, unconnected from policy issues, and by repeating information talking points to which factual rebut is ignored. The truth has been covered. It is no longer important. In its purest form, post-truth is when one believes that the reaction of the community improves the facts of a falsehood.